Hi everyone, here I am again, finally, and there was old Harry shooting off his mouth again. Now, someone in the comment section of one of my previous videos said that she is absolutely intrigued by the fact that Harry and Meghan had not been stopped yet. And I absolutely agree. Surely MI5 and 6 have something they can use against Harry and Meghan, something they can take to the couple and say, look, either you shut the heck up or we will expose this. And surely the king, with his influence, could have arranged for Harry to be kicked out of the United States for lying on his visa application about his drug use. I mean, really, if the real royals like Charles or William wanted to, I have a feeling Mr. Biden would have ordered the Department of Homeland Security to release his visa application to the Heritage Foundation, even if they were compelled not to release it to the public. But no, the battle is ongoing, and at this point it still appears as if the United States government is still protecting the Duke of Hazzard. So, along with this viewer, I fully agree that it appears as if there are forces behind Harry and Meghan, someone or something more, far more powerful than Harry and Meghan themselves. But the question remains, who? So because of that question, we need to look at what Harry said in the Invictus documentary. And indeed, I'm not a big sport fan, but I understand and appreciate the value of the Warrior Games and Invictus. Not only does it keep wounded veterans fit, it gives them a goal, and it also creates a community and support base around them. Now, I was not going to watch 5 hours of Heart of Invictus, but I saw clips taken by phone from a screen and basically the portions in which Harry had something to say and Meghan made an appearance. I read my usual online newspapers, and I think that is just about enough for me to form an opinion. But because I know you have heard most of what Harry said in the documentary already, I'm not going to go through all of it again, but I'm just going to give a quick and short overview of what Harry said, which is actually causing the stir which it had. 1. Harry claimed that there was no support and help when he was suffering from PTSD after the war in Afghanistan or after returning from Afghanistan, and that the PTSD of the war also brought back the trauma of his mother's death. Harry said the United Kingdom media ignored the stories about British soldiers wounded in Afghanistan. 3. He complained that the British press ruined his deployment to Afghanistan. 4. He also said that he flew Apache helicopters in Afghanistan. Okay, now let's go debunk it all, but from a slightly different perspective and with some additional information which everyone had seemingly forgotten about or just have not gotten around to yet. In terms of there being no support and help when he returned from Afghanistan, what a bunch of poppycock. Yes, I said poppycock, and I said poppycock on purpose. I could have said rubbish, trash, nonsense, and a complete lie, and it would all still be true. I'm going to read to you Harry's own words before taking this any further. Spare page 212, at least in my book. This one was eyes on target, finger on trigger, fire away. I asked myself how I felt. Traumatized? No. Sad? No. Surprised? No. Prepared in every way, doing my job. Page 214. Perfect kill. We played some more PlayStation. Turned in early. Page 217. I didn't think of those 25 as people. You can't kill people if you think of them as people. You can't really harm people if you think of them as people. They were chess pieces removed from the board. Page 218. As my tour neared its end around Christmas 2012, I had questions and qualms about the war, but none of those were moral. And the only shots I thought twice about were the ones I hadn't taken. The million-dollar question, and the one that I'm going to ask you, does that sound like a guy who's suffered from PTSD to you? I would love for you to answer that in the comment section, or if you wish, you can send me an email at bookwormonthecase@gmail.com. In May 2016, Harry was right there alongside William and Catherine to launch Heads Together, at which time he spoke about William encouraging him to seek help. Because you see, William was not unfamiliar with family members seeking help for their mental well-being. Both of their parents did. Yes, most people know that Diana eventually relented and sought therapy. But how many people knew that Prince Charles, as he was known at the time, also went for therapy and saw a psychiatrist for a significant period of time? As a matter of fact, Prince Charles saw psychiatrist Dr. Alan McGlushan for nearly 14 years until the mid-90s. Princess Margaret saw psychiatrist Mark Collins. Prince Philip's mother had mental health issues. No one in the royal family at the time had any negativity towards mental health problems or seeking help for it. And I believe no one in the family has any negativity towards any of it to this very day. And before I move on to number 2, I want to make another point, a true factual one. And I'll tell you why I think it is important. Every journalist, every article, every discussion calls Harry a 12-year-old when Diana died. No, he wasn't. Harry was born on the 15th of September 1984. Diana died on the 31st of August 1997. Now, if you do the mathematics, Harry was only 15 days away from turning 13 when his mother died. Now, why is this important? It is important because the difference between a 12 and a 13-year-old can be quite significant, as they are at different stages of physical, emotional, and cognitive development. But I'll leave it at that. As I told you numerous times, I have ADD and OCD, so I have to correct mistakes. Or if you want me to, we can look into this further and talk about it another time. Anyway, let's move on to number 2. Harry said the United Kingdom media ignored the wounded British soldiers who were in Afghanistan. Well, I do not even have to try to prove to you that that is absolute BS. I think that Harry may be dyslexic because I'm not even British, but I have the internet, and here are just 2 British media headlines, and these are just the first 2 that popped up when I googled it. July 2009, Evening Standard. Dead soldiers return home from Afghanistan. 25th of October 2009, Mirror. UK soldiers return home from Afghanistan to a hero's welcome. Yes, my dears, I can fill page after page after page with similar headings. And from all the British newspapers concerning the war in Afghanistan, and in particular about the British soldiers. But then it was not even necessary for Harry to be able to read, because he himself actually attended the Sun newspaper's military awards, and their backing of the Help for Heroes scheme. Harry's lies pertaining to the British media is now bordering on the ridiculous. So I think that it is time one of these outlets turn the tables on the Harkles and sue them for defamation. I think it's also time that his father, the king, the man in whose name all British courts operate, stop Harry from harassing British citizens with such vitriol. Whether you like it or not, or whether they like it or not, British journalists are still British citizens. And just to cement these actual facts, here is an incomplete list of journalists who died during the war in Afghanistan. 10th of January, Rupert Harmer, UK. 5th of June 2016, David Gilkey, United States. 4th of April 2014, Anja Niedringhaus, Germany. Nils Horner, Sweden. James P. Hunter, United States, 30th of December 2009, Michelle Lang, Canada, Carsten Thomason, Norwegian, October 2006, Christian Struve, Germany, Karen Fischer, Germany, Ulf Stromberg, Sweden, Harry Burton, United States, Julio Fuentes, Spain, Maria Grazia Cutuli, Italy, Pierre Boulard, French, Johann Sutton, French, Volker Handliok, German, and quite a few more. No, not the British nor any other media in any other country ignored a single death. Why would they, with so many of their own dead? You can also still find a list of names of those British who perished in Afghanistan on the BBC website. So Harry is again lying. Because, my friends, it is not ignorance. Harry knows these things. He hasn't forgotten. He is not delusional. He is spiteful. He is making up stories to stir trouble. That is what he's doing. How could he have forgotten if he was there himself? No. As for the British press, ruining his deployment? No. Again, talking through his backside. And no, not out of ignorance. He knows exactly and full well what happened, as he writes on page 151, and I quote, "An Australian magazine had outed me, told the world I was in Afghanistan. The magazine was inconsequential, but then some bell end in America picked up on the story, posted it on their worthless website." Now I'm asking you, if the magazine was that inconsequential and the guy's website was worthless, then why was he removed from Afghanistan? Anyway, let's move on. That, however, proves to you and to me and to everyone else with half a brain that Harry knew full well that it was not the British press who outed him. Now, why is he doing this? Why lie? Because he lied. But why is he constantly lying, even if the truth is basically as bad as the lie? Yes, Harry has become the same type of compulsive liar as his wife. Lying about things that's not going to change the world, not going to change their status. They just lie for the sake of lying and perhaps stirring trouble. So let's talk about Harry talking about being an Apache helicopter pilot in Afghanistan. Yes, Harry qualified as an Apache helicopter pilot in 2013 after 3 years of training. However, while on a 5-month tour in Afghanistan, he served as co-pilot gunner. In other words, he did not fly the helicopter, but took control of the weapons. And how do I know this? Because Harry said so in his own book. So you see, Although one podcaster said Harry appeared in only about 20% of the entire documentary, it is clear that the 20% was so toxic that it overshadowed the actual veterans, the very people who the documentary was about, supposedly. So I think we've all reached a point now, and I know that many of you feel the same, namely that on the one hand we are utterly bored with Harry and Meghan, but on the other hand we cannot understand why Harry and Meghan has not been disciplined by losing their titles, being ostracized from royal events, from the royal website, maybe even have been sued by a newspaper or journalist for defamation. How is it possible that they get to go on television and tell the most horrendous, provable lies and not a finger is lifted to stop them? It does not make sense. Okay, guys, I would love to hear your opinion in the comment section below, or as I said, if you would prefer to email me directly, you can do so on bookwormonthecase@gmail.com. So, guys, I'm a bit behind, but I'm going to try and catch up this weekend. So, until I meet you again on the next one, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.